Welcome back. Let's talk about how to permanently fix your smartphone addiction. If you are like most people, then you check your smartphone every couple of minutes. It's a serious addiction. But what's the pull to smartphone all about? To understand this, we must realize that we live in two realities. Let's call it zero reality and number one reality. Zero reality is the here and now. As an example, think of your pet dog right in front of you. It's like zero distance to you. But number one reality is some reality that's out there. It's not physically in your grasp yet. Your pull to zero reality is triggered by a hormone called serotonin. But your pull to number one reality is triggered by a different hormone called dopamine. So, serotonin makes you enjoy things you possess in the here and now, while dopamine makes you seek more. Dopamine helps us in maximizing future resources. From an evolutionary perspective, this made sense as dopamine helped us survive. But in the modern world, where our survival has by and large been secured, this same dopamine is now doing more harm than good. As each one of us tries to seek more, it's leading to the destruction of the planet. A lot of businesses leverage this vulnerability of humans to seek more even when they don't need it. These businesses design their products as dopamine pumps to pull you in. An example of this is your smartphone and its apps like social media. In our evolution, we have always sought human connection as they have helped us survive. So, human connection has always triggered the most dopamine. Social media apps mimic human connection and thus use this vulnerability. In fact, use is an understatement. It hacks into this vulnerability to pull you in for a maximum amount of time. Also, anything unexpected or having a surprise element also triggers more dopamine. This again makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. By making us pay attention and respond to the unexpected, helped in our survival. Social media apps are designed to use this vulnerability as well. This is the purpose of the unexpected notifications, likes, short videos, newsfeed, etc. in all social media apps. Scrolling through newsfeed and playing the slot machine in casinos are the same. In both cases, it's the unexpected reward that keeps you hooked. This human vulnerability is also leveraged by other smartphone apps like email, messaging, news, entertainment, games, etc. In summary, they're all designed to give you a squirt of dopamine whenever you use it. From the outside, your scrolling through the newsfeed for hours looks irrational to another person. But from the inside, it's completely rational to your mind. That's how powerful dopamine is in changing your behavior. All of this leads to acquired ADHD, that is, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This is different from someone who is born ADHD. In born ADHD, the person is highly dopaminergic to begin with. They have a hunter brain constantly scanning the environment for shots of dopamine even when there's no smartphone. But in acquired ADHD, the non-ADHD person is lured with dopamine from the outside through the smartphone. The apps are engineered to release dopamine in the person who engages with it. Eventually, with more smartphone use, the non-ADHD person starts acquiring ADHD traits, leading to acquired ADHD. In both born and acquired ADHD, you become more impulsive. This eventually leads to a loss of your brain's executive function. These are a set of higher level cognitive abilities that guides your behavior towards a chosen goal. It includes self-regulation. This is the biggest difference between us and animals. We are capable of delaying a response to an external stimulus. The decoupling of response to stimulus helps us in prioritizing and sequencing behavior to achieve our goals. As you start to lose the brain's executive function with smartphones acquired ADHD, you are unable to persist towards your goal. If the goals are long term, then it's even worse. The only thing that can bring you back to your task now are the ones that have immediate consequences. The loss of brain's executive function is a big downside of smartphone addiction, besides the time spent on the smartphone. So, how do we transcend this smartphone addiction? A powerful method is by witnessing your smartphone use through your true self. By witnessing, I mean watching without attachment. A lot of New Age gurus also call this mindfulness, but don't explain it practically. So I'll attempt to explain this with a story. There was a guy who had a beautiful house in the neighborhood. He had gone out of town for a long time. When he returned, he saw his house burning. The fire was big and nothing could be done about it. There were lots of guys standing in front of the house and just witnessing the house burn. He started screaming. People asked him why he was screaming. He said, "It's my house," and was in total panic. Then his son came to him and said, "Don't scream. I sold this house just 2 days back." Hearing this, the owner felt relieved and now started witnessing the fire just like the other people. Then his other son came and said that, "I'm not sure if the transfer of ownership to the buyer is complete or not." Hearing this, the owner started panicking again. But sometime later, the other son confirmed he's no longer the owner of the house as per the records. This made the owner calm again. He then again started witnessing the fire just like the other people. In life, the owner in the story represents your true self, while the house represents everything you get attached to, like your feelings, thoughts, mind, body, or objects. Once attached, you dilute your true self and assume a false self. This is where your ego builds. Also, this is where all your addictions and habits build too. Most people live in their false self 24/7, and it's their only self they know. These addictions and habits are difficult to fix from within the false self. You feel powerless over these addictions and habits. But the moment you start witnessing these addictions and habits from your true self, it starts to fix on its own. This happens because you become more aware of the addictions. How to apply this to your smartphone addiction? The trick is to look for gaps between content as you scroll through the newsfeed or even when switching apps. These gaps are opportunities to detach from the content and related thoughts about it. Once you detach completely, you're in your true self. Witness your act of going to the next piece of content for just a dopamine hit that you really don't need. Remind yourself that the smartphone is a dopamine pump. Watch yourself without attachment. Look at your act lovingly. This is because when you look at something lovingly, then you don't judge good or bad. Moreover, be conscious of every move and go slow, just like when you newly learned car driving. Initially, you will be able to witness your act only in the gaps. But with practice, you might start to witness your act even outside the gaps. That is when consuming content. In 21 days, this witnessing will help you overcome your smartphone addiction by simply becoming more aware of it. You will then start to use the smartphone only when it's really needed and not compulsively. Moreover, your brain's executive function will improve. This will help you to achieve self-regulation to pursue long-term goals. Come learn more about this at Uptinker. It'll help you in building your startup. Reach out to us using the link below. And thank you for watching.